Letitia James case collapses again. A federal grand jury in Norfolk, Virginia has refused to re-indict New York Attorney General Letitia James. This is making the second time the Trump Justice Department's case against her has fallen apart. The alleged crime was narrow. Prosecutors claim that when James bought a home in 2020, she misrepresented it as a second home to get a slightly better mortgage rate. The bank itself never claimed it was deceived or harmed. Her niece lived in the home rent-free, and loan documents didn't clearly forbid renting. Career prosecutors previously declined to charge the case at all. A judge dismissed the first indictment after ruling that the Trump-installed U.S. attorney was improperly appointed and had no legal basis for bringing the charges. A new prosecutor presented a revised case to a grand jury, only for the grand jury to reject it again. All of this unfolds as Trump continues to attack James for her successful civil fraud case, which documented persistent financial deception by Trump across his business empire. Compared to that, the thin allegations against James looks less like justice and more like political retribution. Okay, what's the real message here? Of course, the case against Letitia James was laughed out of the grand jury because there's no there. This is the most obvious attempt at politicizing the Justice Department and turning the United States from what was a democratic rule of law kind of place into a third world thug led banana republic. It's absolutely an embarrassment. Okay, let's go a little bit deeper. So this is so bizarre, it boggles the mind. And it is a good example of why most of the prosecutors who looked at this said, we can't do this. We'd be laughed out of court. It was very difficult for the Trump Department, the Justice Department, I should say law firm department. It's not a Justice Department anymore. They're like, how do we even, with a straight face, make the case that this woman committed a crime? So again, a little backdrop. There is such a thing as mortgage fraud. People are rarely prosecuted for it, but there is such a thing. One of the cases is if you say, okay, this is going to be a second home for me, and you just want to use it as an investment. You could get a slightly better deal on your mortgage. No one's really harmed, but it's technically saying something incorrect on a form. And my understanding is if you really went through every person's form in the world, you would see thousands, if not millions, of people who've made this mistake. In the case of Letitia James, there's no record of her having turned this into some kind of wildly lucrative second business with tons of rental income. She let her niece stay there rent-free. So even if you buy the argument that you should selectively prosecute her for something that happens every single day, it doesn't really add up because she's not even guilty of the very thing that is supposed to be a crime. Now, what really makes this thing particularly rich is that Donald Trump is guilty of things 1,000 times worse in the same vein. He has on numerous times lied on applications for loans that in any normal time would be considered fraud. So specifically, the Trump Tower triplex was nearly 3 times its actual size. He put that when trying to get loans for it. He did that in order to give it a valuation of $300 million. And it was nothing like, he just lied, he just made up numbers. And he's basically said throughout his career, he's creative and he just makes up numbers and makes up his net worth whenever he wants to. And now he's saying Letitia James should somehow go to prison. Let's not kid ourselves, folks. This has never happened in American democracy before, where you have a president publicly saying, I don't like Letitia James, I don't like James Comey, I don't like anyone who's ever attacked me, said nasty things about me, or filed a lawsuit, or tried to hold me accountable for my own crimes. So you, in the Justice Department, find something, anything, I don't care, and indict them, put them in jail. That's never happened. Am I saying that Nixon or someone didn't quietly tell someone, hey, investigate the guy a little bit? I'm not saying it's never happened, but it's never happened to this degree, outwardly, openly, patently corrupt. And it's nice to see a grand jury saw through it. But it doesn't really matter because this Department of Justice, I've got to start using air quotes again. Those of you listening on the podcast, I'm doing air quotes to that. People in this Justice Department don't really care if they're laughed out of court once, twice, 1,000 times. The only thing they care about is Trump tweeting or posting some statement on Truth Social saying, hey, you're going to be fired if you don't attack the person who's my enemy. That's literally the only thing they seem to care about. And I guess you could get away with that when the economy is expanding and the stock market is good. But with inflation creeping up, job loss creeping up, the economy, other than AI, stagnating, it makes you wonder how much longer can this shredding of the United States rule of law continue before enough voters say enough. What do you say? Have you had enough? Let's take comments from you. If you're watching this live, you can post your comments here. I respond in real time. If you're watching this on demand, thank you. Or if you're listening on any podcast platform, please leave comments. I do typically respond. Try to within 48 hours, although with travel, sometimes it's not possible. I mean, tomorrow I board a plane for Vietnam. I'll be in Asia for a couple of weeks, and I know it's going to be more than 48 hours because I will be out of pocket. But let's take some of your comments here. Alberto says, talking of doctors, what can you do? Or any professional. Related to our previous topic about authority bias and how the doctor who gave ketamine to Matthew Perry got sentenced to prison. I just think you have to check yourself. You constantly have to hold yourself accountable and say, is this truly what I'm doing because I am fulfilling the mission I'm supposed to fill, rather than making a rich person happy or trying to do something that makes me seem cool because I'm associated with somebody.